So, awakening is foundational in Buddhism. The Buddha's awakening is a cornerstone for all the practices, all the paths that Buddhism has. So, awakening is not something that happens to an individual, meaning I don't have an awakening experience. The Absolute awakens to itself in this location, in this consciousness. So it's not something that we can hold as a possession. I didn't make it happen. I didn't experience it, but it happened. It was experienced in this cosmology of this human. So there are three components to an awakening. There's first a deep experience of absence of self, what we might call no self or non-self in more traditional Buddhist language. And that's really a sense of sensing into your experience, sensing in to find identity. And we normally find identity in lots of ways. We do it through our physicality, our body. We do it through the workings of our body or mind. I've had a couple of bad head injuries, and one of the revelations I had in recovering from those was how much identity I had in the way, the manner of thought. So I had a habituated manner of thinking, of thought, and when that was disrupted, it was another loss of identity I didn't even realize I had. So we have lots of very subtle identities. Again, the physicality of our body, the way we think, the way we approach things, our likes and dislikes, preferences, all that go into the sense of self. And when we're in the experience of absence of self, we can't locate any of that. So if I were to ask you, who are you? You wouldn't be able to answer. Truthfully, you would say, I have no idea. I can't find anything. I can't find a me at all. So when I was a young Zen student, typically the no self experience, the absence of self, was often equated with awakening. I require my students have to also have a deep, thorough unity experience. So it's a love experience of everything is the same oneness, everything is the same fabric of oneness, including us. So it's not that you're looking at at the oneness, it's a part of you. It's an integral, undivided part of you. So at the same time, there's the absence of self. There's also the full quality of unity of love is happening too. So everything's love, and everything has an absence of self. So that's the perception, including us. And then finally, there is the recognition that this absence of self and this pure unity of love is truly who I am, truly who we are. So it's the recognition of this true identity as well. That has to land as well. One can have any of these pieces, any of these components, in which case, if it was absence of self standing alone, I would recognize that as an absence of self, but I wouldn't call it Kensho or awakening. If they had the love only, that would be a unity experience. Very, very important, really critical to our development, but not awakening by itself. So it's got to have all three components for that to happen. So then the question arises, how come everyone's not awake? If we know what the pieces are, why can't we just take care of this or do it? And the main reason is because of our allegiance to the self, and also the fact that we've linked our sense of self to our survival instinct, to that instinct that keeps us alive. So we begin to equate the putting down, the releasing of the sense of me, of the self, triggers our survival instinct. So we feel that bad things are going to happen. I'm going to be lost. It's really been fascinating to me over the years, the 20 years I've been teaching, and talking with students about their concerns and fears around awakening, how many people have this story of, well, I'm going to lose myself, which means I'll lose all motivation, so I won't be able to work. I'm also going to lose the ability to maintain relationship, so all my relationships are going to fail. So I can't work, I can't maintain relationships. That means I won't be able to pay my bills, I won't be able to keep my housing. So I'm going to be homeless. And then because I lose my sense of self, I'm going to be crazy. So people end up often seeing the trajectory as I'm going to be end up as a crazy homeless person. Obviously, that doesn't happen for anyone, but it's the fear, it's the survival instinct that's really loading the downside such that we keep our allegiance to the me, to the sense of self. So there are two portals, two entries into awakening. The most common is the not self, no self, absence of self portal. And that would be a predominant number of people, making up a number, I'd say 90% of people enter Kensho or awakening through that portal. The other portal is through the love, the unity. And there are people who enter through that portal as well. It's a lesser group, I think, simply because the emptiness, the anchor of emptiness in Buddhism attracts a lot of people who have a lot of affinity for the blackness and the absence and all that. So just most of us are inclined in that direction. I think that's the main thing. So one of the practices we do which help cultivate or prepare the ground for awakening is we practice innate goodness. Now, normally in life, when we are told we're good, when we get that feedback, it's based on performance. You did a good job cleaning your room, doing your homework, passing a test, work on your job, something in terms of performance. And while we like to hear that we're doing well or doing good, we on some level know that they're only speaking to our behavior, to our functioning, not to our actual being. So they're not saying I'm good, they're saying my performance is good. And so we begin to link our performing to our sense of being good or being accepted. And this starts a driver, a compulsive doing that many, many people work with. And this is that urge. You're sitting in a chair or on your couch. You don't have anything you have to do, but yet sitting there, there's a motivation to get up and do something, to clean the room, to do whatever needs to happen. And it's the fact we can't just sit doing nothing. There's a compulsion to constantly perform or do. So we cultivate innate goodness. This is a goodness that is a function or quality of the absolute. It's a quality of the love component of the absolute. And it's a goodness of being. One of the most common ways people access this innate goodness is through using infants, whether animal or human, but babies. They have the sweetness and goodness, they just emanate, and they're typically not trying to elicit a response from us. They're not performing, they're just being. So when we do this meditation, if you're having trouble contacting innate goodness, bring up a memory of an infant, whether, again, animal or human. You can bring up a picture of yourself in your mind's eye. Some people use nature itself or an idealized figure from your faith tradition. And we hold that picture ideally in the heart, or if we're not a visual meditator, we hold the felt sense of that person. How do they feel to be around? What's their vibe like that? So we want to hold that in our heart as we open to the delicacy and the subtlety of innate goodness, which is often characterized as a buoyancy, as a warmth, as a kind of flow, just a general okayness. There's a quality like this. So go ahead and seat yourself in your meditation posture. We'll do a little innate goodness. So I did want to say a couple of resistances to innate goodness. Let me fill those in first before we meditate. One of the resistances is self-talk. Most people have a fairly constant narration through their life. I like that car. I don't like that tree. I like that bush. And just a constant narration and judgment of their life. And part of what that's doing is it's reinforcing who we are. Oh, I'm the person that doesn't like that car but likes that tree. So it helps us stay identified. So that's one way that will block or make contacting innate goodness a little more challenging. Also, the self judgments, the negative judgments we can have when we make mistakes or do something wrong, that also will block our contact or having deeper contact with innate goodness. And finally, our compulsive doing, which I mentioned earlier. That also, when that driver is going, we're focusing on performance and being valued for performance. So we're trying to pull back a little bit and be with the goodness of being, not the goodness of doing. All right, so go ahead and start with some centering belly breaths, really filling your lungs, abdomen, all the way down to genitals, and then letting all of that air out. Deeply relaxing into your seat or cushion, feeling your contact with the floor, the support of the building you're in holding you. Let's include the people in our lives who deeply care about us. Let's include those we deeply care about or have deeply cared about throughout our life. Let's include the people that you love and have loved in your life. Let's include the people who have loved you at any time in your life. We're practicing for these people today as well. It's not just for us. Bring awareness to the hara that's in the belly, about 2 finger widths beneath the navel and 2 or 3 finger widths in from the surface of the skin. This is a chakra from the yogic tradition, which is an important energy center. The hara is used a lot in the Zen tradition, both meditating from the hara as well as holding koans in the hara. Breathe into the hara if you can, feeling that inner seat, that groundedness, the connection. On the next in breath, invite awareness into the heart area. And by that, I mean the chest cavity itself. We're not specifically paying attention to the human heart, but to the energetic heart. This too would be a chakra in the chakra systems, the yogic tradition, an energy center. Breathe into the heart area if you can. Noticing if you're in contact with that light buoyancy, warm flow, delicate purity of innate goodness. It's always here. We don't need to manufacture it or create it. We just need to locate it. And we start by orienting to the subtlety in the heart area. There's a kind of uplifting optimism innate goodness has. So when you contact that, or the flow, the warmth, let awareness rest on that innate goodness in your experience. On the next in-breath, invite awareness to the center of the forehead. This is called the wisdom eye in Theravada Buddhism and the Dharma eye in the Zen tradition. It's another of the chakras or energy centers of yogic tradition. And this is the organ of perception. So this is how those of you who have meditative sight, this is how you're perceiving, seeing in your meditation, is through the wisdom eye. If you can, breathe into the wisdom eye, just feeling the energy, activity there, or whatever phenomenon is happening. Even if nothing is happening, be with that neutrality or nothing. The next in-breath, invite awareness to the crown chakra, the top of the head. This is an important portal when awareness and consciousness journey into the absolute, to formless realms such as the formless jhanas, We enter and exit. Awareness and consciousness enter and exit to the crown chakra. We also can receive downloads of information in a kind of knowing, and that too will enter through the crown chakra. If you can, breathe in to the crown chakra, sensing it as an energy center, a chakra in the yogic tradition. Return awareness to the heart area, returning to contact with innate goodness, that uplifting optimism. Everything is going to work out just fine. There might be a brightness in your visual field, the purity of the absolute. You might just be feeling a light uplift, a warm flow. And just rest awareness in the delicate sense or feeling of innate goodness. You may be sensing or feeling the quality of love of the absolute, completely loving without any condition or restraint. We don't have to qualify for love. And nothing we've ever done will exclude us from the love of the absolute. It's always available to everyone, to all beings. One of the ways we can know love of the absolute is because of its objectivity. It's not like a personal love that one partner loves another partner. It's more objective, more neutral, very wholesome in its felt sense. We'll sit silently together in this love, pure and bright, a gentle flow and warmth, that uplifting optimism, just deep in this love as we sit together in silence.